On a cold winter night in the quiet town of Brookdale, a single streetlight flickered over an empty fog-covered road. It was 9:47 p.m., and 17-year-old Lauren Spence was driving home after an evening with friends. She sent a simple routine text to her mom. "I'm almost home." It was the last message she would ever send. This text, meant to be a comfort, would instead become the final sign of her existence. Just minutes later, her car vanished. There was no noise, no witnesses, and no signs of a struggle. Just a girl who should have arrived home within minutes but never did. The road she took was familiar, a path she'd driven countless times. Yet that night, something interrupted her journey, something quiet, quick, and terrifyingly precise. In small towns, people like to believe that danger belongs to faraway cities. But on that night, danger was right there in the fog, waiting for her. And it struck in a way that left nothing behind but questions. How could a car, and the person inside it, just disappear from a 5-minute drive? Earlier that day, Lauren had lived a perfectly ordinary life. She laughed with friends at a local cafe, took pictures in the golden afternoon light, and promised her mom she'd be home before 10. Her route home was short, barely a 5-minute drive from her friend's house to her own. But around 9 p.m., a heavy disorienting fog rolled into town, blanketing the roads with a thick gray haze that swallowed headlights just a few feet away. When police later retraced her path, they expected to find her car somewhere along the route. Maybe she skidded off the road, or her car had broken down. But they found nothing. There were no skid marks on the pavement. No broken tree branches, no shattered glass. Not a single sign of a crash or any disturbance. Her phone had connected to a cell tower for a brief, fleeting second near a residential road called Maplewood Street, and then it went completely silent. Permanently offline. A resident living nearby later told police they had heard a single car door slam shut, followed by the sound of another vehicle speeding away into the night, its engine roaring. But the fog was so dense, they couldn't see a thing. It was as if Lauren's car, and Lauren herself, had been quietly and efficiently erased from the world in under 2 minutes. One moment she was there, texting her mom, and the next, she was gone, leaving behind only an echoing silence and the cold, damp fog. Investigators immediately mobilized, turning Brookdale's peaceful, tree-lined streets into an active and frantic search zone. Volunteers from the community gathered with flashlights, combing through the dense woods that bordered the road. Drones with thermal cameras were launched, scanning the area from above, hoping to pick up a heat signature from a car or a person. Police began the tedious work of gathering every piece of surveillance footage available from nearby homes and businesses. Only one camera captured anything remotely useful. It was from a home security system positioned at the start of Maplewood Street. The footage was grainy and distorted by the fog, but it showed the blurry shape of a small car, believed to be Lauren's, driving past. What made detectives uneasy was what came next. Just a few seconds later, a dark-colored SUV with no visible license plates was seen trailing closely behind. This SUV was a ghost. It was never identified, never seen again on any other camera in the area, and no local resident could recall owning a vehicle that matched its description. It appeared on that one camera, followed Lauren's car, and then vanished into the fog, just like she did. Officers canvassed the homes along Maplewood Street, desperate for a lead. Most people had seen nothing, their windows shut tight against the cold night. But one person remembered seeing headlights pause briefly near a bend in the road, just for a moment. Another neighbor, who'd been outside with their dog, recalled hearing footsteps, hurried and faint, but couldn't tell where they came from. Each clue seemed important, like a piece of a larger picture, yet none of them connected clearly. It was like trying to solve a puzzle where half the pieces were missing and the ones you did have didn't quite fit together. The investigation was hitting a wall of fog, both literally and figuratively. As the days turned into a week with no answers, theories began to surface, spreading through the worried town like wildfire. Some believed Lauren was the victim of a targeted abduction. They argue that someone had watched her, learned her routine, and used the cover of the dense fog to strike. This theory suggested the person knew she would be driving alone on that quiet road at that specific time. Others suspected that someone she knew may have been involved. Perhaps a friend or an acquaintance had flagged her down, and she had stopped, trusting the person who approached her. This would explain the lack of a struggle. A few investigators remain convinced that the dark SUV was the key. It was too coincidental. They believed it was either used to block her path or was directly involved in her abduction, acting as the crucial missing piece of the puzzle. Another possibility was a simple car crash, hidden deep within the woods, obscured by the fog. But as search teams covered the area again and again, that theory began to collapse. Without any physical evidence, no debris, no tire tracks, no broken foliage, it just didn't add up. Even more extreme theories, like a forced transfer between vehicles on the road or even a staged disappearance, couldn't be ruled out entirely. In a case with zero physical evidence, every idea felt possible, but none felt certain. And in the world of true crime, that kind of deep uncertainty is often more terrifying than the crime itself. Because uncertainty means the danger could still be out there, and the truth remains buried somewhere no one has even thought to look yet. The person responsible could be anyone, and they had gotten away with it perfectly. Weeks turned into months, and Lauren's disappearance slowly and painfully changed from an urgent crisis into a haunting cold case. The bright lights of the news cameras faded. The large-scale searches were called off. The town of Brookdale tried to return to normal, but it never quite could. Candlelight vigils were held at the spot on the road where she was last thought to be. Her face was on posters in every shop window. Her room at home stayed exactly the same, a frozen moment in time. Her bed was still made. Her favorite books sat on her desk. Her phone charger was still plugged into the wall, waiting for a phone that would never return. The community kept searching long after the official efforts slowed down. They created social media pages, shared her story online, and organized their own search groups on weekends, refusing to give up hope. But no new evidence ever surfaced. The dark SUV was never found. Her car was never located. And Lauren herself became a painful, lingering memory that left behind 1,000 unanswered questions. Even years later, her mother still leaves the porch light on every single night, a small, silent symbol of hope, a beacon in the darkness, just in case her daughter finds her way home. The case remains open, a dusty file in a cabinet, but time has turned it into one of those local mysteries that linger in a town's history forever. It serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes people don't just disappear. They vanish into an impenetrable, unanswered silence. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider subscribing for more content. Stay safe.